So I was able to launch that initial um, program that I wrote in Python. So this will be the operating system for it. So I should be able to write everything in Python that I need to do to run the operations. The one thing that I need to figure out is whether or not. So I think the operating system, quote unquote, will have. It's not really an operating system. It's just like it's a launcher, a start menu type thing. But it might have access to more things than what a program might have, a traditional program. So like things like being able to like the file operations might be different, and to see what files are there and stuff like that. So but I will figure that out, and I can do that by just I could have like a flag that I pass into the program that says this is given expanded, scoping the capabilities of what you're actually given. I am gonna eventually have to look at IronPython too, and how you limit, because I really don't want them like messing around with a bunch of stuff outside of the context of the thing. I want it all to be kind of self-contained in this. So if in Python they do a print, that it actually goes in IronPython to the console, and how to prevent that is something I need to think through. But let's think here about how we're going to advance this. So I do want to rebuild within this the concept of this menu. Again, I'm going to have, this will be progs. There'll be an edit menu, new, and then a sys. The sys will have a bunch of settings in it, not just shut down. One of the things would be like setting the resolution, which I probably should allow based, in the program too. Yeah. Anyways, one thing I need to figure out is whether I want to maintain this, this title bar or not. So if we look back again at the TI-83 calculator for inspiration, it's a PRGM menu. There's an exec. It's not actually programs. It's actually execute, edit, new. That's what it looks like. It's been so long. I really need to get my hands back on a TI-83 calculator. I should just buy one. Interesting. But this could get into the idea of the menu system that I want. So really, if I do some driven programming here, there will be a menu command in Python that should take in a array of, I think I was going to go with tuples, and the first one's going to be the actual title, and then the second will be an array of actual options. So this would be where I'd put the program list that I need to get access to, or the list of possible programs in here. So I'll just, for now, just put in, like I did before, none, no op. And I think in Python, so this would be, you're always going to get some sort of output. So it'll be like, I think to do multi-line in Python, you actually escape like that. Or I'll leave that, maybe. I'm not sure if that just, how that all works. I'm gonna have to refresh myself on Python syntax. but I'll keep it simple for now. So can I tab in there is the question, I think. So I want to do something like this, edit, which would have the exact same list. And then there'll be a new. I think was just create new. Is that what the text was? Create game. And Code Mage create program. I think each one of these need to be escaped like that. And then there will be a sys. Which will for sure have a shutdown option. But I'll also need things like display and whatever, but I'm just going to do shutdown for now. And then that will into the menu. Now we'll see if that actually works in Python or not. And apparently this syntax editor hates it, so try that. This could be invalid Python syntax. I guess I could go to here and find out. Maybe. It doesn't seem to have any problems with it. I think that's the syntax for doing multi-line. Well, we'll find out when we run it. And this would be, I'm going to just display the, we'll try that. Let me make a selection. So the menu API I don't have quite figured out yet. I do want to see what just happens if I run this as is, if it can compile the script correctly. Yeah, it won't. Menu is not defined, so I have to provide that as a function. It takes in, so it takes a Python list. I don't know if you can I access Python types? What? Without actually IronPython. I might have to write like a little wrapper around it so that I can do the conversions to a .NET type without having the user have to actually do the whole typecasting thing. I'm going to say that this takes a menu and returns a You know what? I'm going to copy my I'm just going to copy what I had in the other one, and then I'm going to write an adapter inside of the Python code to import that into so this isn't going to actually be named menu command. This will be named with some underscores in front of it to kind of make it considered private. So the actual thing would be doing underscore menu, and then you pass stuff in. I'm going to write an adapter. And again, I'm just going to keep stuff in. I don't know. I really am getting away from putting everything in the same stupid module. Actually, Maybe I'll make this like this. So the menu is really a... Actually, I don't even need to do a menu type. It's really an array of tabs. Screen. Takes in a name. And it takes in an array of menu options. So it actually doesn't even take in a menu option. It just takes an array of strings, which are the options. In which case, why do I even need to bother with this? Again, this is going to be could pass in an array of tuples, which have a string and then a string array, like this. Returns a tuple of int, which are the selections that you've made. I'm going to keep the naming correct or on point. So even though this is totally outside the .NET convention, I'm going to start it with that double. Oh. So instead of having the menu here, it'll be like this. And just the underscores represent underscores indicate binding doesn't use exact method. There's an adapter that's loaded. Alright, let's see what happens now if I do this. Should be able to just give it a straight up name like that now. Ah! Come on, what are you doing? What you doing? I want to see what blows up now. Menu is not defined. Yeah, okay. So what I want to do now is actually execute some code that defines that thing. First, though, I want to see how far away from this I am in terms of type resolution. So I am going to swap that back to that, so it will come through as menu to Python code. Say, so what it wants is an array of value to, see, this is why like the conversions aren't very good. So I have to write an adapter that takes in what I want to see in Python and converts it to this ugly, you know, mess. Actually, you know what I'll do? Okay. So we will convert this back to that. Then after I run these set variables, what I want to do is take a look at, I don't think I need to import any CLR types or anything like that, so, because these should all be all basic types. What did I do here? I ran execute, and then I ran and actually wrote some code in here. So what I might do is just write another little script here, like just like the OS. That I'm going to run. I'll make it an embedded resource. So in this case, then what I want to do is define menu. And this is going to take in tabs. So I got to remember the syntax for Python here. Is it for tab in range tabs? Actually, what I should be able to do is use Python map. So 2.7 map. So I'm getting an array of tabs, and I want to go through that array to a map. So it's just map lambda thing, and then so I should say it's not just so converted. Converted equals tabs. Is it tab set? Okay, so it takes the array as the second thing, so does it use fat arrow? No, colon, and then off my screen. You can see I'm not a Python guy much anymore. Not that I don't like the language, I just haven't done it in a long time. And so then I need to convert this to the actual type that I want, which I took a screenshot of, and then I promptly forgot about. I don't know if there's a faster way to get at that. So I need an array of value tuple. So this is going to create a yeah, so I need like array of value tuple. I might actually have to import the value tuple type. What did I do with that? Come on. Array of value tuple of string of array of string. Oh my gosh. String array string. Gosh, I wish they just had default list types. They probably do, I couldn't find it in the Python. Code. Boy, my memory is going here. Stir, an array of stir. Okay, so take a tab that comes in, and I think I can do it like this. What do I do with that tab then? I have to make a new or make a value tuple of tab dot. Okay, so this is, how do you get the first item out of a tuple in Python? First value. You just do 0. Accessing, here we go. Okay, so you use just an indexer. So it would be the 0th. And this is really not a just that, it's a value tuple of a string, comma, array, stir. And that passes in the tab 0, which should be the name, followed by the tab 1, which should be a list of strings in Python, but I need to convert that to an array of strings. Okay, so this is our type spec, which is ugly. That terminates that one, which means I need another thing there. Is that it? And then I would do menu, tabs. Now it comes out as a value tuple, so I would want to do a selection at 0, comma, selection at 1. No, I would want, is it item 2, item 1? Totally guessing here how this is going to play out. Let's give it a try. So when I run this, I want to load in scope.execute. Oops, sorry, not that. Engine.execute. And this will be straight up expression. So rom.get resource name of menu driver.py. Can't remember, do I include the... Yeah. Inside of the scope. So this should fail. So let's see what we get. Unexpected token. Map. Just gotta have map. Come on. that needs to be that. Try again. Let's see what we get now. Unexpected token selection. Well, that got me past that part. Okay, so I've got to have... I'm getting to a point in here where I shouldn't be. Okay, so that's the type that I'm trying to create. Passes in a tab, which then creates a value tuple, which passes in the tab, then an array, so this ends my value tuple, but I don't have an end to the map, which needs to go like that maybe. Alright, let's try this again. This is why I don't want the user to have to do all of this stuff. Unexpected token selection. Okay, really? Let's see, make sure this is all right first. See if print comes in. So, problem. Unexpected token print. Okay, so it is still about creating this top level thing. Again, so this is our type. We have a parenthesis to open. And we're getting out a map that starts, create a lambda, takes in a tab, should return a value tuple that's a string of an array of strings, which then takes two, actually, I wonder if it's just how this is constructed. Well, no, it should be the first item, which is the tab 0, which is just a string, and then an array of a string, which takes in the value at 1, which should be a list. And I think the conversions there work, unless I have to like iterate through them. Oh gosh. That closes that, that closes that. And that closes that, so I have to have some other problem here. Let me try just mashing this all up. See what happens. Maybe it's this stupid syntax for multi-line that I'm using. Come on, how did I do this before? Maybe there, okay, look, IronPython. Python with this type. Sure. IronPython runtime list implements the following interfaces. Okay. So it's just a list of object. Oh. I can make that work. Instead of doing this whole stupid thing I'm doing. It was fun to think about how that would work, but actually I don't need. Let's just plop that there and see what happens. I might still need to see what blows up this time. Value cannot be null. Parameter stream. Oh, I'm still reading that stupid thing. Probably shouldn't have deleted that. But I think once I get into .NET land, I have a better understanding of how to convert it. Okay. So I should be able to do something like, well, let me print out the contents. Or if there's a lowercase tuple type in. What options do I have and for my available to myself in there? Just gonna put in a pass-through so I can do some more inspection here. Okay, so we go through, we get a tab. Tab is of a type tuple, 2 items. So I should be able to index them like I do in Python. Like that. Name. Oh, I see. C#, Python, tuple, okay. IronPython, tuple, type. Tuple with only elements of type T. Goes to IEnumerable of T. So I could do It's gonna be ugly, but no, that's gonna break anyways. Well, this is gonna be an INumberable. This would be the object dot select it's not really toString, it should just be as a string, which will again give me null. It's there. I'm gonna have to think up some sick validation if this works, because this is not pretty. Let's give it a try. So that worked. Perfect. That works perfect. That works perfect. So if we look at our hey, exec no, that's perfect. Okay, so I can make that work without doing that little adapter type hack. This isn't exactly pretty, but it does the job. So so what this is the adapter's written right here, and this is an ugly adapter, but I'm gonna have to have the concept of like an invalid data or some sort of something that spits back to Python. When you have an error happen in not Python, on the TI calculator, you go to an error screen, and then basically the whole thing exits, it kills. That's probably what I'll have to do in here, is any exceptions that get thrown or anything that doesn't match up. I'll try to have friendly error message, but yeah. So now without doing this, what I should be able to do is convert this into a meaningful data using just link. So I go menu, menu dot select, this is a T then, I can just go name equals sorry, I need to do something like this probably. Name equals T0, that's string. This could be very error prone. And then this, your options. It's just this straight up. And I want to realize it by using toArray. You could iterate through them. But then I need to get into the object of displaying this out. So the first thing a menu will do, a menu can't really exist with these other things going on, so it's going to clear home, which will do this display home screen, so we get the menu. Actually, this would be called tabs, probably. And what does our drawing code look like here? I will just replicate this. So we had a menu driver, and oh, I've got to think about how input's going to come into this, which shouldn't be too bad. It'll be the same way that... Oh, no, I know how input's going to come in. What I'm looking for right now is this draw. So I'm skipping the title. What I want to do is set the cursor, set position to 0, 0. Now cursor does a right char, I believe. So what I should just do is use an output. Or, well, I could do... just do output. Now this also tells me something I need to think about here is that the highlighted one, the inverted one, I have to either flip the foreground or background, or I have to have in the concept of the menu what I want those colors to be. But I think I will just treat it as an inversion. So right char is basically your output. Probably muddying my thought by just looking at this. For each tab in the tabs, and then output. I'm going to do this hard mode. Right char, value C, foreground, background, and this isn't gonna end up being a, it's got to really be a truncate, truncate and truncate, I believe, or a truncate and scroll kind of a deal, but the scrolling has got to be so there. So I'm gonna have to keep track within. This is not gonna be pretty to write at all. So we'll just use a wrap and scroll for now. Actually, use a wrap and truncate. So what that'll do is take and write exec, and then I need to also write space, just space it. See what happens. So that's that, and then I don't know where the 0. Oh, that's for my print back in Python land. So apparently that's working the way I'd expect it to, even though the type is not really quite what I'd want. Okay. So now, one of the things with the menu object that I had is that I kept track of the state of where the menu object is. But this is all going to be contained. I don't need to put that in a class, I don't think. So I should have like selected tab index equals 0, selected menu opt. Sorry, I'll just use opt. Tab is equal to tabs at I. Then what I need to do here is invert these. So if I equals the selected tab index, and use the foreground, and otherwise use the background, and vice versa. So I should do this. The first tab should be highlighted, or rather, they're inverted. So this first one is the foreground. So if the tab is selected, then, oh yeah, I want to use the background. Otherwise, use the foreground. I've just done backwards. Now the thing is that if I do get to the, I'm going to remove that from this code here because I don't really care about the selection at this point. So that's what that would look like. Now I need to print the menu for each option, and then I need to deal with the input and the update loop. So this happens within Python's execution thread, which is glorious because that means it should be anyways, which means my actual execution should be continue to draw stuff as I change things, just as it did when I input things. So you know what I can just do is get rid of that index. I don't need it. So I can just do tab equals selected tab. So interestingly enough, this is effectively my draw, which actually has to happen in an update loop. In a tight update loop. So I get this, and I need to do so this is effectively like my drawing code. some. Yeah, I'll just put in something to help with that later. Okay, so I clear it, set the position of the cursor, I get the selected tab, I go through each of the tabs. If the tab is the selected tab, I invert the colors. I go through and then I write a space between each of them. I probably don't need to do it on the last one, but we'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I then need to go through the in ops. So I get a bar selected opt equals. Now, it could be that tab selected tab dot ops, and now there could actually be no actual selected operation, so that'd be if there is no options here. So want to do something like this. Come on, our selected opt equals selected, it's not selected opt index is less than or equal to the selected tab dot options dot length. If it is, then I go selected opt equals tab selected tab dot options at selected opt index. Otherwise, it is null or none. So really what I could do is say, well, I need that anyways. If selected opt equals null, then I've got nothing to do. Because this should only really happen if, this should only really happen in the event that there's none. There's no selected options. But just in case, I suppose I could say, or selected options dot length is less than or equal to 0. Sorry, this should be selected option length is greater than 0, and selected opt does not equal null. Then what I do is I go for each. Actually, let's go like this. In selected tab options, so there should be some in there. So for here, I want to go cursor dot set position 0th x, or sorry, row 1, column 0. Then I want to output so I say row is equal to 1r. Then I would go r plus plus r column 0 every time. I could do plus plus r here, save me a row. I think. We'll come back to that statement. So what I would want to do here is go through each just like I did here, but in the option name, which is just the name opt. I write the character out, and then I need to invert. Well, it's not just that, so it's And actually, funny enough, I can use the row here for now. I'm going to have to fix all of this because I'm missing something about what happens when you get more programs than there are rows. But, so this has to be printed and it has to be inverted. But then the option itself isn't, I believe, is how I have it structured. So what I'm saying is like, so your 1 and 2 here get selected, not the whole thing getting highlighted. I've got to make that work. I could highlight the whole line, suppose, or the whole option name. Yeah, I know, no. I don't know if I'll actually use that. It's just reasoning about the logic. Because it really... This shouldn't happen. Like, it could happen. Yeah, I don't know. This is where it gets into that... Like, the stuff you write in business software, it's a lot easier to write. You're thinking... I don't know, you think about things differently. This is purely procedural code on how to draw this menu. What I really need to do is create like a right line on the cursor that does this operation, or just right with a string. There's a void too. I constantly worry that people will watch this code and think that this is how I write like business software. This is just right chart. Value is C F G B G overflow mode. Okay, so I should be able to just do right, and I could just use this. Doesn't need to be actually, maybe it does. Okay, leave it. Oh, but then, yeah, okay. So getting rid of my loop, but I still need the rest of this. Even when you model with null, it can propagate through cause a lot of management, like async can. Yeah. Having no null. Yeah, I use a maybe type in some of my code. I haven't tried using nullable reference types in C# to see how it changes that for me. But yeah, I've at least seen the light in the idea that, like, when you use a maybe type or something, you're documenting the fact, the intent, like, this value can have no value. It's not just a side effect or an accident. Like, it's a known thing. So, definitely get that. Maybe. Okay, so Interesting enough, if this does wrap and doesn't truncate, this plus plus isn't gonna work quite right. It's gonna overwrite. Well, actually, it'll automatically seem like it truncated, come to think of it, unless the wrap goes across 2 lines or this is the final thing in the line. Anyways, I think I can just do this now. Just like I did this. I can do I'm not super proud of this. Just be able to do program background. This close to making that a static import. There's a lot of pattern matching. It can catch all the cases you missed. Yeah. And pattern matching and not like in C# I've gotten used to doing like what I call like a poor man's pattern matching. And I'll just take a real quick aside here. So so if I have like, let's say an enum, and I don't use a lot of enums normally, but like I don't know, color, or let's say you have a shape type and you have something like rectangle or square, triangle, whatever. So you've got some type like this. What I'll do oftentimes is create a static helper like this. So it'll be called like a match function. Which takes a function and it doesn't, this particular one doesn't need to take this, but it'll just return the t. It'll take a map or whatever. Then I'll put this close to the enum itself or where I'm using it. I wonder if I can. I haven't actually used the syntax, the expression syntax for switches yet. You know, just because this is an aside, I'll just do it the old school way. So if self equals type dot rectangle. Oh shoot, what am I doing? This isn't map. I'll have something like this, rectangle. And it's a little annoying to write these, but square. Like I'm reaching for a pattern that maybe it exists, but I'm not aware of it. I want exhaustive case checking. So I'll do each, of these independently. Otherwise I'll throw like a not implemented exception or something like that. What I found then is that all over my code, I'll have something like and I can do s.match, and then I'll do like so if I don't know what type it's going to be, so if it's a rectangle, then I'll return but yeah, this is, I wish that I could get this level of exhaustive type checking. So, and where it's so valuable is that you know, you come in here and one day you decide that, hey, you actually need to support a hexagon, and you go in and you add your funky hexagon, and now everywhere that you need to know about hexagon or care about hexagon, as long as you're consistently using the match to kind of decompose it or whatever, it'll tell you that you need to do. So it's like using the compiler for good. But yeah, I think F#, this is what I've talked to Scott, Nimrod, or Bismonger, or whatever, on Twitter a lot about this concept of, like, I see the benefits, and I know that F# does a lot of this stuff for me. I just haven't really made that leap yet. And it's, again, I think it's a lot of it is whether or not you're encouraged to do it within your particular job. You know, whether there's people that want you to, you know, try these kinds of things, or there's people you can work with that can mentor you on it and steer you in good patterns or whatever. But like, I do coding for fun, but I want to be productive in it, so sometimes learning a language isn't really productive. Like, you try to do too much. Maybe building a game wouldn't be too bad, though. Like, if I took a Ludum Dare and I built a game using F# would be good. Oh gosh, this is all grody. Okay, so theoretically, I'm gonna put a thread sleep in here too. I think, you know, the few times I've sat in it is I get hung up. Ooh, there's a flicker there. Oh, you know what it's happening is it's probably drawing. It's actually probably drawing it while the console's in a clear state, because you have these two threads running. I might need to actually lock, put a lock around, like a, or yeah, I'm sure that you can't see the flicker here maybe on the stream. Well, maybe you can, but there's definitely a flicker, and it's, again, because I think it's clearing out the state. But you know, the thing is actually, once I draw it, the only time I need to redraw is if I make inputs. So I don't know why I'd be clearing this out every time, like this. So really there should be some sort of I don't really need to sleep here. There should be some sort of a blocking thread here that waits for input. So it'd be like, well, it would be after I do the initial draw of the menu. Gosh. Hello. Just grab the, I think I've done this before, like, word. Let's do is key down. Oh. Go to enter. So I really need to can sleep on the input here. I'm gonna have to figure that out, I think, when I get into graphics drawing, though, because I mean, it's gonna have to clear the screen, but I only want it to actually render back if the buffer is ready to go. And I want it to be kind of inline tick with the with how MonoGame does it. I've got some ideas for that, but so this would get rid of the flicker, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And enter's not doing anything, but it technically is redrawing. I suppose if I held it down, it should occasionally flicker, assuming it's making it past that point. just set a little breakpoint there. Maybe it's not making it there. So it's stuck in this loop. Surprised that's not taking. As soon as I hold that down, it should actually trigger it. Oh, derp. That would be why. Meant to put enter and press end again. So I do a single draw, and then when I do press the end key. Yeah, so if I hold it down now, it flickers the same way, but if I only draw it every time I do some sort of an input to capture the input, that should cover it here. What I'm thinking of doing is that maybe I have to have some sort of relationship with the output buffer, or like, so right now on draw, what's happening is that this goes out and render the active display to this display buffer or whatever, which is just a, you know, it's a buffer of data, and it takes, if you're in the home screen, it takes the contents of the home screen buffer and puts it there. If you're in graphic screen mode, it's going to copy it over into there, and then it will present it. And what I believe what's happening is that the loop is going, the actual MonoGame loop's running at 60 frames per second, and this just runs in a separate thread. So when it's actually capturing this render, the home screen's only partially rendered at that point in time. Or it might be not rendered at all, or it might be in various different states. So you're seeing that flicker. So what I need to do is probably send some sort of a signal to only do this when the actual, when there's actually a new kind of buffer ready. I don't know. I've got to think through this. I'll let my subconscious work on it. But for now, at least when doing stuff on the home screen here where I'm writing this out, and I have to update the menu as I move through it, I'll just do it on input entry or whatnot. One thing I think I am going to maybe do is use the MonoGame inputs here directly instead of passing them through. Gosh, I need to think about that. So it's like if, you know, really I need to keep track of the previous state. Just gonna get one left arrow, so I gotta make sure I get this right. If the right key is down and the current state is up, what I need to do is take the Then I'll need to wrap it or whatnot, but just want to make sure that this is working. Yep. And boom. Out of bounds. Which I could, again, I can model that. I mean, I could model that as like a tab selector. Like, there's a lot of work that I could put into modeling it, but I could also just, like, this is a very particular thing. There's not a lot of reuse there. I wonder if I should, yeah. Anyways, so when I do this too, I want to make the selected menu option index equals 0. And this is a subtract on the left. So there will be a precedence here. Left and left. Nope. And I need to make it wrap probably. This is ugly as sin, but I gotta watch the time here. I gotta bring my daughter somewhere soon. All right. There we go. Now I can make my up and down quick work, and I'll probably call it good. And I am going to refactor this later to not be so ugly. So if it's up, then I say if the oh, these are converted. That's the way I wrote it. If the selective option index is less than 0, then it equals the selected tab dot menu options dot length -1. Otherwise, it equals the selected opt. I just want to get this working. I'm not going to leave it like this, though. This is too hideous. Not hideous, just not. It's not. It should be done a little bit better. It's greater than the length, or equal to the length, set it back to 0. Otherwise, go with the selected option index. So I should be able to circle through the lines now. Yep. Cool. Well, I do have a little bit of time to refactor this. And by refactor this, I mean the input. Trying to think of a name to capture what this is. Keeps the previous keyboard state, the current keyboard state, provides these abstraction to say whether a thing was pressed. I'll think on that maybe. One thing I should be able to do though here, else if previous key is down, keys dot down, enter. Really a selection can't be null, but I do this. Well, let me do that. I'm gonna try it. Oops. Tab index greater than 0 or equal to 0, and selected menu index drop index is greater than or equal to 0. Then I would say selection equals selected tab index. Oh, it could be, yeah, all right. Selected menu index. Index. And I return that. Here as well. I should really not have these breaks like this. This is getting a little out of hand. I could do is just say, yeah. Anyways, display selection. Yep, that's what I should expect. I'm no longer in the menu, as you can see. Yep.
2 o'clock's coming.
Yep. We're gonna leave in about 15 minutes. Do you want to make sure you get your stuff all figured out?
Got it all.
Shoes and everything.
I already got socks on, so I'm probably just gonna wear just regular shoes or something. Just pick good shoes and then go. It's not important. They don't really.
Want to see something where I'm at?
Yeah.
So I've got this menu here. And I know it doesn't look like much, but you could have different options here for games and stuff that you've written or whatnot.
It's like what Miss Noah did with Carter Finn. We did a lot of. I came up with 2 ideas to do, but since I already did the bed monster, I was thinking like, yeah. Since I already had the bed monster, because I came up with snow monster, but I'm like, I already did a monster, so I'm gonna go with like,
yeah,
crazy.
So when you select one of these options, so these are based off of, this is your tab selection, which starts at 0, and 2, 3. And then when your options start at 0, 1, 2, and go that. So if I was to do this one, it would be 1, 0, 1. So I should get 1, 1 as my selection. You selected 1, 1. See?
Mm-hmm.
So then I can use that to look up what my actual action is supposed to be and go from there. And then
what's this over here? What's happening over here?
So this is analyzing, processing the memory, and looking at, it's looking at how much memory I'm using in the computer. So
It looks like water.
yeah, and then how much CPU usage, how much processing I'm doing. So
Okay. Well, you have a big computer.
yeah.
It's almost as big as. Wait, is this the new desk?
This desk? No, I've had it forever.
It looks
You
new
know that.
because it moved.
Oh yeah, because I'm.
And it looks new because of the sides. The sides I didn't really get to see because it's like as big as this area, so.
Okay, I'm still on stream here, so I'm gonna just really.
My creamy. It's my light.
All right, well, I think I'm gonna call her a day. I gotta get some stuff figured out here. I might be on later, I might not be, but have a good one.